Welcome back to another edition of the Pear Genius podcast. I'm your host, Alex Pauls, the brand guardian, and with me, as always, is Kati Pauls, the brand alchemist. And today we're welcoming TJ Slattery from crowsnestmindset.com. He's got a beautiful website. Go check it out. And he comes to us via Colorado. He's another mountain person like us, except the American version. So welcome, TJ. It's great to meet you. And man, I can't wait to get into your story and more about you.
Great to be here, Alex, Katie. Yeah, lots of fun to jump on the cast. It's funny you mentioned that because it's finally winter here in Colorado. I woke up with 6 inches of snowfall. I'm like, all right, here we go. And I've got a bum leg right now. So I'm like, yep, shoveling snow is going to be an adventure this winter for
Yeah, because
sure.
when we first met, you got into a horrible accident. You broke your foot. And how much longer are you debilitated for?
I think I'll be out of the boot by around New Year's, and then I get to get all the fun PT stuff. But I'm
All right.
eager to get that rolling.
Well, the
We're
good thing about
back to
ski
100% before we know it.
Yeah, the good thing about ski boots is they'll keep you safe in there. Hopefully, nothing jostles around too much in there.
Yeah, we'll see if my doctor agrees that the ski boot is about the same as a walking boot. I don't know if it's gonna fly.
Well,
Right? I'm guessing it's not the same.
I would
Something
say
tells me it's
I would say wear the ski boot next time you're out on the motorcycle or the scooter, and that'll keep your foot safe. It
yeah,
might be hard to
yeah,
shift
good
though.
step.
Oh man.
Well, I want to jump right into the brand because that's how we always start. I feel like that's how I get the best energy of who you are, what you're about, how you're here serving other people, what your genius zone is. So tell me about Crow's Nest. Why Crow's Nest? And then I noticed it's not just a crow's nest in a tree, it's in a boat, it's in a ship. So tell me the whole story.
Correct, which is it's a pretty funny metaphor considering I'm very much in a landlocked state. So I speak in a lot of metaphors and stories. That's how I communicate, and it helps to bring a lot of color to some kind of mundane business matters. But for this one, we've worked with so many clients over the years and trying to describe the work that we do and where they start and where we are trying to get to. And a big piece that resonated with so many business owners over the years is saying, okay, when we start working together, your ship is out to sea, you're afloat, which is great, but you're below deck with everybody else just shoveling water. And that's fine, it's keeping things going. But because you're below deck, you keep running into icebergs and getting holes in your ship. So you have to keep staying down below deck to, fix those things. And you keep missing land. There's always opportunities that you're not able to see because your visibility's off. So my job is to come in and help you get a bilge pumped out down there, maybe a couple of other sailors below deck to pick up the bucket while you get up into the crow's nest. And you're able to now get some distance from the business as an owner, as a leader, to steer the thing. And so now it's, hey guys, we're going to go a little bit to the left and avoid this iceberg and stop taking on so much water. Or hey, land ho, because I've now got the vision and can start seeing further and further in the distance on where this thing is going. So a big part of the work that I do is getting owners up into the crow's nest of their business so they have that clarity, that visibility on what's going on in the ship, where they're taking it, a clearer goal, so they can communicate to the rest of their team and just get everything below deck a bit more systemized and organized so that ship is well oiled and they have a destination and able to shoot for it.
It's amazing. I love the fact that you remind people that they're actually meant to be the visionaries, right? They're the business owners, the business creators, and then they get so busy doing the thing that they forget they're meant to guard the vision, that they're meant to see that vision through, and how detrimental it is when you lose sight of land.
Absolutely. And you guys have probably felt this in your businesses over the years. Once you're really in it, and it's very exciting and fun, you kind of want to be in the trenches, right? But your tunnel vision, you really just can't see what's going on around you. And I find that a lot of clients when they come on, it's because they finally will take their head up for a bit and open up that vision. Like, holy cow, okay, it's been 5 years and I've just been like getting after it, digging in the trenches. But now it's like, okay, can we start to open up that vision again? Like you had great vision when you were a startup, right? And I got a perfect business plan. Here's where we're going. Here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're about. But then once you start like getting after it, it's one of the best things you love being an entrepreneur is being in it. But after a while, it's like, okay, we got to recalibrate what this direction is and what this all means and what I want out of this because things have changed. So it's usually around that 3 or 5 year mark that people start wanting to get that adjustment and get more clarity on where this whole thing's going.
Amazing.
Yeah, I was going to say that it gets pretty exhausting being in the trenches too. And, that's where the burnout comes. And I feel like like you mentioned, the 5 year mark, I think that's actually a great time to step back, take a break, take a breath, and look around and see, from a new perspective. That's probably where it's actually really nice to have somebody like you come in with a fresh pair of eyes because, I don't know if you ever painted something, but after you've stared at a wall for about, 3 or 4 hours, it just all looks the same. You don't even notice anything anymore. You don't notice imperfections. You just need a fresh pair of eyes to see.
Yep. And that's one of the things that I like bringing in with clients is that third party objective opinion to help, like, they'll come out of the trenches, like, what am I even looking at? What is this thing that I built? Like, okay, well, let me give you some ideas on what you have put into place. And, I'll spend, if it's a prospective client, I'll spend 2 hours for free. I was like, let's just go through your business and analyze it. And I'm going to give you some feedback and say, hey, if you can be vulnerable and go through all of your stuff, I'm going to poke holes in what's happening, ask a lot of questions. What are we missing? What are you working on? I'm like, it's not a good idea. Have you thought about this? Oh, yes, and I'm like, this is a great thing that's in play. What could we add to that? Could make it better. Have you thought of X, Y, or Z? Or a huge part is just to validate the work they've already been doing because you've been in the trenches. You're very siloed. It's lonely at the top. You haven't talked to anybody about this that really understands what you've been up to be able to say, yeah, hell, that employee you have in place, they're fantastic. Where'd you find them? Like, they're good. Don't worry, don't question that hire. Or this system you have, like, that's gonna, you're gonna go tenfold without having to replace that. Like, great work on it. But they might not, no one's ever given them that feedback. Like, oh, good, these things are good. These things need work. These things I gotta throw out. But without that third party that, getting that backup from the view of the portrait you've been drawing, it's really hard to see that and understand what the next big steps you need to take to get where you want to go.
Yeah. What do you think the biggest challenges with these business owners? Like, what's one of the most common big challenges that you face with them?
Oh man, I mean, a big one is that letting go. And so I look a lot for initial mindset. Some things are you'll find with owners, like I can't work with a ton of ego. And I find that in when I'm questioning things that are in their business and it's everybody else's fault but mine.
Mm,
And if you can't Taylor Swift it and say, I'm the problem, it's me, or at least consider that, like I can't help you because the first place you need to be able to look is like, is this something that I'm doing wrong or could improve about me? And so I'm looking for that in owners. If they have that, great. And so, okay, now we're going to go step two on this is are you able to start making changes and letting go of some things in your business? And so to answer your question, I think the biggest piece is that introspection, but then letting go. You've been in the trenches. You are like white knuckling every system, every employee, every delivery, every client, every job. But are you able to start climbing up the stairs to get out of the mess and be like, you know what? I've built this system and worked on it my last 5 years, but I'm going to be able to hand this off to somebody else or put an automated process in to replace me. So the powers of delegation is one of the biggest parts that I work with early on with new clients is trusting people, being able to let go, maybe getting rid of some I alone can fix it mentality to say, look, to get you above deck, going back to the crow's metaphor, like you need to be able to trust and start handing these things off. Because I always say that the death of every entrepreneur is we all become glorified managers. And some people kind of cringe at that, but it's like, hey, we're getting you to a spot where your main role is managing your managers and trusting them because they're the ones that are going to help you get to this vision point where you want to go. But if you always have to be the one that's micromanaging everything inside your business and you can't really give this thing some room to breathe and trust in other people to do as good or better than you and be able to acknowledge like hire this person, they're twice as good at marketing or three times because I don't even know how to do marketing, but it got me this far. But it's like, but if you can learn to hand something like that off and trust it, like that is just going to explode. But if you keep holding these so close to the chest, like we're never going to get above deck, like not even a peak. And so getting owners to start seeing that next level in their growth process and their journey, like, oh, I can see myself up here. And they'll have another fear with that. Like, if I'm up here, what do I do? What's my purpose in the company? What's my, like, I'm like, I promise you, blah, blah, blah. When we get there, like, it's going to be really clear. You've got all this other stuff that you're not even aware of that you could, and should be focused on. But we have to get you that next step. So it's letting go and going to grow more into a management leadership role that has, they're visionary and not be white knuckling.
I like that you mentioned the levels because you're talking a lot about below deck. So they're very much in the trenches. They're doing the hard stuff. They can't see what's happening. I honestly imagine you as the crow in the nest and you're inviting them in. Just come in for a second, climb up here with me, and let's look at what you've actually wanted for this endeavor. because from this perspective, we can see a lot further. But the goal is not to stay in the crow's nest, it's to get you back behind the ship so that you are driving the ship where it's meant to be going. Because I feel like you can't always be up in the crow's nest. You got to be, taking drive of the thing that you're building. So while they're
You-
up there, right, they're getting wind of, oh, this is the frequency of the thing that I have. And in that vein, for 2025, I feel like there was a very specific frequency. There's something very different coming for 2026. So I'm curious if you have up there in the crow's nest, have you caught wind of anything new that people are going to have to work through for 2026?
Oh, for 26 specifically, let's see. It's a really good question. It's not panicking. There's so much going on in politics right now in the global market. I mean, even our relationship with Canada, like, well, yeah, we'll just slap on 200% tariff, something crazy like that. It's, staying the course and knowing like, okay, here's a vision, here's where we're going, and keeping yourself aware of what those macro trends are and how they can affect your business. So I've one client that, she's got, 80 therapists across Colorado that are clinicians at her different locations. And she's, got a lot of headwinds coming up with changes in Medicare, Medicaid, just people's insurance premiums. And so that is definitely something that we're looking at and saying, okay, what are the different things we have to change inside of our model for getting people access to healthcare to be able to still come in for their therapy sessions? But it's staying in tune with what those headwinds might be. And again, you can only do that if you have some distance from the business to say, down the line economically, politically, what might those be? But for 26, it's being aware of how those macro components might affect your business and then start building in contingencies. Saying, okay, if they suddenly shut off Medicare to, sorry, Medicaid, I always get it mixed up. I'm not big on healthcare. If they shut off, healthcare to 20% of my customers, how are we going to adapt for that? Say, okay, well, let's start making a plan now. If that happens, we know that we're going to change X, Y, and Z inside of our business. And that can go for, name an industry where you could start seeing these might pop up. And whether it's for 2026 and the current trends that there are, or for 28 or 30, just knowing what, do a SWOT analysis. What are the threats that could come up? And now you have the bandwidth inside your business to be like, hey, I'm not the plumber running out to every site, turning the wrench. I'm like, okay, I have time to think about this and planning contingencies. And if this employee leaves to go do that, I know all the JD, all the interview questions, this is all documented. So if this person, whatever year it is, just left, I actually have a backup plan and a step by step that I can pull that lever and be ready for it. But you don't have an opportunity to look at what those threats are and how you would manage it and build a book for it, your playbook for those things that they came up. So my advice for 26 is look at the headwinds, look at how that might affect your business, and what is a pragmatic plan you would put into play should any of those arise.
You know what? As soon as you said it, I had to write it down because it seems like the perfect marketing for you specifically for this month, like December, would be stay the course for 2026. What does that look like? What does that mean? How do I keep my vision going when the waves around me are getting so volatile? I love the stay the course. It's so on brand.
And I'm a big piece now. And every client I'm working with at the moment, and anybody I'm talking with for this next year, is have a plan. Like we'll sit down and spend a couple of different sessions just going through building a pro forma, like the holistic pro forma for 26. So what's the annual goal? Great. Seasonality, let's build that in and put a month-to-month revenue goal. Okay, what does that mean for operations? And when do you have to hire new people in different departments based on the growth in those different each month? And what does it mean for cash flow? And how does it affect your marketing strategy? Like plan not just next year for what your revenue, your financials are, but each department. If everything goes to plan and you hit this, 10 million goal for next year, great. Here's what's going to happen each month, what our plan is. But then you're able to adapt. Every time I build the pro forma, it's always on a Google Excel sheet of some kind. Because it's like this is a living, working document. We have a North Star of what you want to achieve, and we have reasons behind it. It's a solid goal. We have plans for department, but we know that this is going to shift. So suddenly revenue is 20% down in March. Okay, why was that? How can we adapt for April? How does that affect the rest of our departments? But you have a plan and knowing that all of these things are strings that are tied together. So you've got a plan, everything is linked, so you can adjust and move as you go. But if you just go in blindfolded to 26 and be like, we're going to do good this year, we're going to make as much money as possible. I'm like, that's not a plan. That's, what do you mean as much as possible? We're going to do as many sales as we can. Like
Well,
you
we'll ask
can't give a sales.
ChatGPT. We'll ask ChatGPT what we should do.
Yeah, you can't give a salesperson that as a goal. Like, do as much as you can. Like, that's what? What do you mean? So actually having something written down, put it together, be transparent, tell the rest of your company, here's the plan, here's why, here's what we're going to do. Get everyone on board so they're in lockstep for your 26 plan. And then when things change, they're ready to adapt. They're aligned. It's like, oh yeah, we all saw that. We knew the plan, and now this is going to be different, and we can adjust accordingly. But just have a plan. Don't go in blindfolded, because then you're back to shooting from the hip. You're just below deck waiting for the next punch to come that you have to react to, instead of say, we planned for this. We saw it coming 3 months ahead. We know that needs to go into play. Great. Well, we're going to respond to this new crisis and not have to everybody freak out and like worry about your job and everything goes to pieces. So have a pragmatic plan, know that it's going to change, and have your contingencies ready for when they do.
Nice. What do you think about people leaning too heavily on AI? Do you see that kind of backfiring in 2026? Do you think people are going to double down on AI and keep adopting more and more of it?
The way I think about AI is how we used to work with the Ruskies, right? It's trust but verify. I mean, I looked up a simple mathematical equation on refinancing, my mortgage. If you pay how many extra payments per year this does, and I saw it pop out. It was like a really basic math error in a finance thing that I'm like, I'm not great with mental math, but Chad, what about this? Like, oh yeah, this digit, good, glad you caught that. I'm like, you're the supercomputer with all the information in the world. How did you miss that?
Right.
So like trust but verify, I think it helps to really shortcut a lot of data finding, resources, processes you can put together, but still do your own work. Like it drives me nuts. I had a friend send in a major contract, like $100,000 deal he was trying to do to advance the business. And he's kind of copy pasted something from AI, and the client caught it. And it was like a really bad mistake. I'm like, how did you not like send it to pay the money, send it to your attorney, have them do a look over. You skipped a lot of steps getting like the body of this, but don't trust it blindly, because man, I've seen in several instances where it'll bite you.
Well, especially legal wise, I would say I would not trust it at all,
Yeah,
especially if you're going to sign your
yeah.
name on that.
I think there's a lot of great applications, maybe some automated responses on certain emails, or you have a big thing in your head you want to dish out and say, hey, put this into a actually thought out good email. I want this sentiment to go across. But there's some amazing adaptive features that they've put together in communication. It's stuff that used to take us hours and hours to build. You put in a basic thought process and they pump it out. I mean, there's some amazing applications, but just don't trust it blindly.
Right. And I love that we've moved to AI, because I always say now, with the rise of AI, the rise of human is necessary. That's what's coming up next, is that we have to continue to evolve and be as aligned with ourselves as possible, so that we can still distinguish when something is human, when something is not. So when you hire somebody, I feel like for 2026 especially, and going on, that they need to be 100% genius zone. That they need to be doing the thing that they were born to do, because when you're in that zone, when you're in your genius zone, you rely way less on AI. Then it just becomes a tool to kind of fill in here and there, but you're still the one running the ship. So what is it? Are you doing like what you're doing right now? Were you born to do this?
Oh, absolutely. I can't think of anything else to do.
Good
It's funny.
answer.
It's let's see. Like, I know you guys have done some work on this as in human design. I found it really fascinating. I don't have any tattoos, but when I do get my first one, it's going to be on my forearm. And it'll say "Know thyself." And I love the human design going through. And I've done Enneagram and all the PIs and Acumax and everything. That's the more you can know about how you operate and what your best skill sets are, and the best situations where you're just thriving. And the more you can know about yourself in those situations, the better you're going to perform. And also, know what you're not so good at. And that's a huge part of being a leader and owner, is like, I got, like, use the marketing example. I got us this far in marketing, like, but I'm a dentist. Why am I still doing people go to school for 4 to 7 years to be a marketing expert or master, get a master's in marketing. I did that for being a dentist. Like, know somebody, know when it's not your zone of genius. And so looking at, human design and getting really clear on that, but your strengths. And I'm talking to people in human design now. I'm like, what can we pull out that makes me so good at what I do, that makes me passionate about it? Like, can we plug it into something else? Like what else would that fit in? So that continued path of self-discovery on really understanding what is it in your work that really makes you shine. And for me, the longest time in consulting, advising, coaching, it was like, oh, it's from my 20 years of entrepreneurial experience, it's my business acumen, it's the academics. And I'm able to go in and show spreadsheets and understand HR law and all these different systems and processes, and that's what I bring to the table. And I'm finding more and more there's actually a whole different part of me that's very much an empathic coaching style of being able to be there with an owner and talk to these problems, not talk out them, not give them direction on like you have to do X, Y, or Z. It's a part from your human design that you learn more. That's actually a major skill set that because my left brain is like, you're good at this and this and focus on those. But what about your right brain talent on how you're able to connect with people, build that trust that enables them to go make their own decision with the information they have, with your support in the background? It's like, how do you lean into that and market it in coaching when somebody wants to bring you on to solve their sales and marketing issues? And I'm like, yeah, but I know it's deeper. Well, we'll get there in like month 3 when we build some trust. So could I do anything else? Sure. I mean, like I said, long entrepreneurial career running small companies, and I've always enjoyed it. But yeah, it's throwing myself back in the trenches. I think I'm in a phase of life now where if I threw it back into, you know, business operations of a brewery or running a marketing agency, like could do it. But right now at the stage, helping other people and applying those lessons and that acumen to help them get to that next stage, like that's where I get this like, oh, we did it. And you see, we put this thing into play for 6 months or a year, and you see the fruits. And it's not even for you, it's for them, but you're working on it together. And I get so much from that long answer to your question. I know I can't really see do anything else right now because that's where I get the most satisfaction from my background, but then how I'm able to help those clients get what they want to get done.
You know what? I'm so glad that you gave me the long answer because in that I'm like, there it is. It's the intuitive coaching. As soon as you said empathic, intuitive, I'm like, okay, now you're speaking my language. Now I understand because you can take this and apply it to any job that you do. I mean, the job is it's just a thing now. You could actually just take your skills and go and apply it there or go and apply it there. I mean, but this is your joy now, a thing that you're doing, but I feel like your genius will follow you no matter where you go.
I certainly hope so. If I left that behind, I'd be totally screwed.
Well, I think that I mean, being counterintuitive, leaving school and going and being an entrepreneur, they don't teach you that in school. You kind of have to be a wild man to go out and start, doing your own thing. And with that, you become this creative Swiss Army knife that solves problems. And then not only can you solve your problems, but when you go out, you can help other people solve their problems. And people are excited to work with you. They're excited to buy you when, you're the guy. They trust your energy. They trust your intuition. They're buying you at that point.
Yep. And I'll come in with the caveat, like just know I'm not infallible. There's 2 internets worth of the business world and industries and all the acumen that I don't know. And so being able to be honest and vulnerable with somebody else, like, you know what? That is a tough one. I don't have a tool in my Swiss Army knife to fix that right now, but I'll be honest with you, we'll go find a solution. But that's the other piece with entrepreneurs that I love. It's no successful entrepreneur is the person that's, well, that's a problem. Can't really fix it. Let's move. Like, no, that's not how this works. That's a problem. We don't have a solution yet,
Yet.
and we're gonna go find it. And every successful entrepreneur, that's the mindset. That's a toughie. Okay, now we're gonna go figure it out. And they always are like, there's the next open door they're going to find to get to the root of this and keep marching. And it's a different mindset. I hate when somebody gets back to me like, no, computer says no. Like, what do you mean computer says no? There's always some way to get like around it and figure it out. And like working with entrepreneurs has also been one of the things that I love most because I got quoted in this in the company I used to work for before when I came up, as an advisor, and they just started doing their newsletter. It was like an internal thing, and they got a quote from me from like an interview with HR, which usually doesn't sound good, but they wanted to get a sound bite. And like, why do you love working with entrepreneurs? I'm like, to be an entrepreneur, you got to be a little bit fucking crazy. I just told that to the HR lady, and sure enough, it shows up at the quote at the bottom of the first news. I'm like, you actually quoted me on that? They put like they bleeped the F in it, and I was like, first of all, I appreciated culturally that they did that. I'm like, right, but it's because they'll throw themselves into a melee just knowing they're not fully equipped in that moment, but they're going to figure it out. And so working with owners and entrepreneurs, like just they have to have that part of it in them to be a little bit crazy, to want to go into the fight and just like, I want to come out the other end and we're going to figure this out. And I love supporting them most of all because there are dark times. It's lonely at the top. Can you have somebody that's going to partner with you on this to keep looking for those solutions and be that support?
Nice. What's one of the wildest solutions you've had to come up with, or one of the best success story solutions you've had to come up with?
Oh my God. That's a that was a broad ass question.
We all have those things that we pull, the ace out of the hole and save the day. And because in my, I don't know, in my years of work, I feel like I'm a superhero, so I always have to figure out a way to save the day. So I have a feeling you're kind of the same way.
You know, this I wouldn't say this is wild, but it was just the satisfaction of a long-term play actually coming to fruition, coming up with a crazy idea, getting aligned with the client on it as like this isn't going to pan out for 6 months to a year, but this is the only way we're going to get this done. And it came initially inspired from, and I'm not big on business books. Everyone's like, oh, you read this and you got to have 10x is better than two, and you got to have. I'm like, yeah, I have traction on my bookshelf, but like I get the gist. I'm not big on like I listen to like a lot of history podcasts or like other maybe some self-help, but it's like 90% history in poli sci. Anyway, the one that really stuck with me that I did do a read through was Atomic Habits. Have you guys heard of that one?
Yep.
It's like every year or two I got to reread. I'm like, this is brilliant. And it's the for listeners out there who are unfamiliar, it's the basic concept of it's like death by 1,000 cuts towards success. And it's rare there's like one big silver bullet that's gonna fix everything. And for those easy wins with the client, I'm like, great. I see some like huge gaps in your your P&L. We're going to solve this in the first like 3 weeks. Or clearly, this is the employee that you keep keeping around, but they're killing you. Like there's some big moves we can have early on. But for this one client, it was she'd been growing her business for 5 years, doing a fantastic job, but just could not get out of the red. And even when I was working with her for a few months, like, all right, we're up to like break even, but like this is going to take a huge undertaking to get past this. And I'm like, all right, we're going to go deep into your P&L, just your income statement, and go through every category and just start cutting and maneuvering and consolidating. And we're going to go into employee benefits and part-time versus full-time and who's kind of overreaching and who's underworking and who actually deserves this piece and where. And it was this huge process to go through every single department and category and find where all the leaks were. And I was like, there's no silver bullet right now to get you back into the black. It's going to take time. And it's going to take a commitment to really going through these and being methodical and a little bit, I wouldn't say cutthroat when it comes to like benefits. I like messing with that. But if it's someone that's working part-time and just staying about the line, but they're getting all the benefits and you have 40 of those employees, I mean, that's a big one, but how do we slowly either motivate them to get up to their full time or be like, hey, after 3 months, we got to, cut the umbilical cord on benefits because you're not pulling your weight. But it's like these are big, hard things on so many different scales that after pushing this for 6 to 8 months, finally starting to see in the last few like a bigger and bigger bottom line and seeing that cushion arise, even having all this stress with cash flow all on the way. Like we got to stay the course. We're going to keep working on these culturally, internally, systematically. This is going to get here. Now we're at this place where she's talking with, not an immediacy, but an eventual exit, which is like, we're actually profiting enough that we can look at, a 5 or 10 year horizon, but like actually the confidence now that this is a machine that I could, eventually turn over because of the profitability and the systems that we built that a buyer would look at. So anyway, long answer again to, what's a crazy idea, but it's like presenting a long-term play that's scary as shit, that a lot can go wrong in that time, but actually sticking with it and seeing that come to fruition. And that was one of the biggest overhauls that, we've done.
Oh,
And the vision. So did you actually, I mean, obviously you begin with the end in mind. So did you accomplish what you wanted to in the end, or did you overshoot? Or did you come up a little short?
Did not overshoot. I mean, we're at the place now where it's a 3 or 4 month track record of seeing at least the bottom line. Like, wow, we need to start seeing more cash flow, that we're paying down lines of credit. We're not worried about payroll. Like those massive changes are now coming to fruition, but even if we're consistently hitting 15 to 17% bottom, like, but we could get to 20. Let's keep doing what we're doing. Let's keep these things in play, but just now seeing that there's not a ton of extra work. It's like we've built the processes, we have the discipline, we have the people in play. Just watch it keep padding. So I don't know there's a way to overshoot it. It's just making all the corrections. And I would say undershot, it's just we're still on the journey. It's just gonna keep growing from here.
So let's talk about kids that are graduating grade 12, they're ready to burst out into the world. Things are so different. Just even taking the time and the money and going to university and getting a degree for who knows what versus being an entrepreneur, because even that has changed so drastically in the last few years. I know for us, our marketing has changed so much just this year. And we're in marketing, like things are changing rapidly for entrepreneurs. So, what do you tell somebody who's looking to make their way in the world? Do you say, yes, be an entrepreneur, go for it? Or is there something else?
Let's see. The young entrepreneurs out there, it was great. I actually went to my alma mater high school last year and spoke to their entrepreneur and young business club. It's don't expect anything linear and manage your expectations that this is one of the hardest paths that you can take, and you're going to take some licks. And I don't know if you guys ever seen that really fun kind of infographic, and it's expectation. It's like a little stick figure. It says A, B, and then it shows just below it like this is A to B, but the entrepreneur there's like a sand pit, and there's like a big line they got to get over. That then they squiggle back over here, they go over here. And I just described it in my career leading up to getting into consulting and so many different industries, different roles, different jobs, different types of management, different types of owners working with over the years, and just knowing as an entrepreneur you're going to try so many things and just get cut down on a lot of them. And that's not doesn't mean that you're a failure in life or in this thing. It's like it's just another lesson. It's another bit of scar tissue to take with you to your next thing. So I guess that just synopsis, it's not linear. Expect it to be hard, but just know, believe in yourself, you're gonna find that thing. You gotta try a lot of stuff to know. Again, we talk about your genius. Like at you're 17, you don't know it yet. Your frontal lobe's not done. You're not cooked till you're 25 if you're a guy, right? Like
Hmm.
don't expect to know everything. Don't expect to have everything perfect. Just know that you're gonna run into a lot of walls and keep running. Find the next wall to go crash into. But it takes time to build that experience.
Yes.
Right. And they spend like that. I think that those first 5 years, right after you graduate grade 12, is so important to get to know yourself. The societal pressure is go to university the second you graduate because you're just going to waste time doing nothing or you'll get lost between the cracks. But I feel like it's the total opposite. You have to go out there and know thyself, like you said, go have the experiences and figure out what your North Star is so that you can make a better decision about where you want to go when you come back to it.
Yes.
Spot on.
So many kids, they fall for the trap of, oh, I'm just going to go become this and do it until I die. And I mean, I can't remember the statistic, but let's say dentists, I think it's like 70% of dentists aren't happy. And that's sad. You spend all this time and money, doing this thing, going to school, learning in order to get this really great career. And then a lot of them are stressed out, or a lot of them, commit suicide. There's a high suicide rate amongst dentists. And that's really sad. And the only reason I could think that they would do something like that is because they feel trapped, as if they can't actually backtrack, or they would be a failure if they tried something different, if they were no longer a dentist.
Absolutely. Hey, I made this decision to be a dentist or to go in the medical field when I was 17. And I agreed to take on a quarter million debt when I was 17. And now they're working through that. I'm like, I hate this path. I hate these people. This is not well, I'm in it. And so you can see that burnout when they get in their later 30s, they're finally out of school, they're getting a residency, and it's like there isn't really any turning back. And yeah, I've seen a lot of that, just kind of hopelessness, frustration. It's really tough in that industry. I think for kids today, I mean, probably even back when I was coming out of school, yeah, it's you come right out of high school and you go right into college, and you're supposed to have kind of figured out what you're gonna do. It's like, can we make everyone take a gap year or like four? Go work in different industries, go travel, do something, but like maybe challenge some of the ideas you came out of high school with. Like, I gotta go to business school, or am I gonna go become like, that when you're 17? Come on, like, I don't even know who you are yet. Go, I think there should be like a minimum for a year, and being able to sign up for 120 grand in debt as any college student at 17. Like you can't get a tattoo. I saw this great meme. This kid's like, I wasn't able to get a Lincoln Park tattoo when I was 17 because I was not 18. And the next day I went and signed up for a $120,000 loan.
Right.
Like what society when you're able to do that? But I think you should have some time to marinate after high school. Like go figure out who you are a bit, get some more direction before you go and invest in college. And I don't know how it's in Canada right now, but trades in the US are insane. You could go start, getting your apprenticeship out of high school in plumbing, HVAC, electrical within 5 or 7 years of your own business. And you don't have to go to college and take on debt. They'll pay you to go get an apprenticeship. And we're super low on trades right now because everybody the last 40 years has said, you got to go to a big college, you got to get a degree, and you got to come out with your English lit degree and do what? It's kind of a trap for those guys. I really feel for them. Yeah, I mean, I loved college and going through that. I always kind of knew I was going to be an entrepreneur, so I had my undergrad was interdisciplinary business management,
Oh,
which
wow.
means you come out as a master of none. Like
Right.
taking courses like accounting, finance, econ, marketing, management, you name it. I was still taking all that senior year. There was no, what's it called? No like focus. I was like, you're an accounting major. I'm like, no, you've got enough to be dangerous with. And that was a great degree as an entrepreneur because it came out and like, great, throw me in, plug me into any scenario. And I've got enough that I can go and sharpen that tool. But yeah, I think for a lot of kids right now, like get as much information as you can. I love going to a liberal arts school where you're required, even as a business manager, I was required to go take humanities and go take, I love doing rocks for jocks. Like you got to open up your mind and see other stuff that the university is not going to just, you only study science and being a doctor. It's maybe you should also learn some Shakespeare and, take some classes on music and see if that opens things up. And maybe you can divert from being a dentist and not get into a long-term career that when you're 27, you don't really want to do anymore.
Right. Well, I think we have to wrap it up soon, and Kathy has the last question for you, TJ. But it has been an amazing time with you, and man, I hope that we get to have your energy on the show again because you are awesome, my friend.
Been an absolute pleasure. Katsi, fire away.
Right. So there's always a little bit of a weird question. I think that kind of gives us a little bit more of an idea into who you are exactly, kind of what makes you up. If you had to pick one animal to represent your energy, the way you interact and move in the world, what animal would you?
Oh, come on, you got to throw a hard ball in that one. Be a big old bear, probably black bear. I'm just a big old lover. I like to forage no food. I like big bear hugs. I actually spend a lot of time with human design. I spend a lot of time alone. I'm a big extrovert. You can tell, big talker, but I need to go back and spend a lot of time isolated and reflecting and getting things together. So bears often are, very solitary, but big old and burly. And most creatures and things they come up against, they're going to be pretty peacefully, just want to find some honey or nuts, but don't fuck with the bear either.
Right? I mean, I think that if you have energy, one of the big lessons then that you would have to have learned is the value of rest. Knowing when you have reached your limit and being able to pull back and take that hibernation time to recharge and recollect your energy. So is that you find that like you've really mastered that?
Well, I think I'm at a stage of my life where I'm learning to appreciate it more. It used to be resting was wasted time for progress. And it was okay, I'll rest because it's required of me and I scientifically have to sleep. And now it's like, oh, sweet. The next 3 days, I've got nothing on the social calendar. The weekend is just void. I'm like, great, I'm gonna rest. I'm gonna do some journal. Like, this is great. And now I'm leaning into, when you're out being the forager and the bear, and you're climbing on trees and you're seeing other animals, you do need to go back and have that recharge. And then what enables you to go and do those things that really push the needle is spending that time. And you're all the more powerful if you can lean into it and rest and catch up with yourself on what all that fun stuff out in the forest meant, that you're never going to integrate that unless you have that hibernation time. So well put with that, Kati.
Yeah, so bear is your energy. Tell me about the crow, just really quick. What medicine do you pull from the crow?
Let's see. Honestly, the crow made most sense for branding purposes. It was
Still
more the
continuing your
crow's
brand.
It was more the crow's nest for the boat because it's about vision, but visually seeing the crow. But I mean, they're actually very intelligent animals. They're very loyal. You ever see where if you put little shiny things out and crows in your neighborhood, they'll bring things back and there's gifts. But yeah, the crows looking to the future, they're nesting and they're highly protective. I've seen crows in my neighborhood attack eagles. Like, wait, the birds of prey are getting shit from the crow? This is nuts. So I should look more into the spirit animal of the crow.
I'm glad you said intelligent because I would say that the energy I get from you, specifically from the crow, is your high intelligence. The fact that you're able to take in all those things and then use it. Crows don't just take it in, but then they use it, and they have fun doing it. And they're solitary, but yet they belong to a murder. Right? It's a murder of crows. It's a big flock that they, at a certain time of day, they fly together. So I love there's so many medicines for the crow that I think would work equally well as the bear energy.
I love that take. I'm gonna take that one home. If I ever put together a conference of some kind with clients, we're gonna call it Murder Fest. It'd be
Yeah,
great.
Murder Bear. That's going to be the story of your life, Murder Bear, TJ Slattery.
Murder bear.
Murder Bear. All right. Well, with that, I wanted to
Wow.
thank TJ again, and I want everybody to go visit crowsnestmindset.com and definitely like, share, and subscribe to the Pear Genius podcast and check out TJ on his site and all the other podcasts that he's done. And yeah, thank you so much, TJ. It's been a blast, and we want to keep everybody up to date with what's going on. We got season 3 just around the corner. This is the second last episode of season 2. So thanks for tuning in with us, and we cannot wait to get rolling on the next season and all the cool things that are coming up. So until then, keep living your genius, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.